Well, if you're looking to beat the heat and maybe curl up with a good book, we have some summer reading suggestions for your bedside table or the beach or wherever you'll be reading over the next few weeks. Joining us with her top picks for both kids and grown-ups, Vikki VanSickle. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about kids' books. We're starting with a picture book for our youngest viewers, and this one has something to do with gnomes?
It does. So the first one is The Hidden World of Gnomes, and this is a 96-page picture book. It's beautifully illustrated. It's very earthy and cozy, and what I love about it is I think kids and adults will return to it over and over again. So the authors created this world called The Pocket, which has all these little gnomes in it, and throughout the book you learn about their likes, their dislikes, their names, and I think it will inspire kids to go out into their own backyards or into nature and see if they can find gnomes there as well.
Well, and it seems like the illustrations, both on the cover and within the book, you know, there's so many that will keep kids interested as well.
It's really, there's a lot to look at and a lot to love about it.
Now, from gnomes to bunnies, we've got a graphic novel here, this one featuring bunnies.
That's right. So most people, when they think of bunnies, think cute, think sweet, but in Fluffle Bunnies, Buns Gone Bad, these three bunnies have rebranded themselves as a crime syndicate. So it takes place mostly in and around a park, and they want to be sort of the tough kids on the block. So it's very, very funny. It's got kind of a hard-boiled detective style in the dialogue. Really cute, and it's going to be a series, so if you really love it, kids can come back to it. So it's perfect for that ages 5 to 9 narwhal and jelly or bad guys kind of audience.
I love the cover where it says Buns Gone Bad.
Buns Gone Bad, a great title.
And it's got a really nice comic book style as well.
It does, yeah.
Okay, now to some of our older readers. We've got a couple novels here for them.
Yeah, so we have 2 novels that sort of fall into this category called Summerween. Have you heard of Summerween?
No, tell me about it.
Basically, it's Halloween in the summer. It's very popular with tweens and teens. The first one, Waking the Dead, is for 9 to 12-year-olds, and it's about a family that has a gift where they can wake the recently dead to give them one last wish, which is very helpful because they're also funeral directors. So in this story, the girl who's just come into her power, decides to sort of use it for good and gets involved in a mystery involving an age-old grudge with a witch.
And then about the other one,
Lockjaw's for teens or adults who are young at heart, and it's about sort of this really hot summer in this small town that's very oppressive, and a girl in the town who is known as sort of a liar in town swears that a boy who has died didn't die by accident, but in fact was killed by a monster. But because she's known as a liar, people don't really believe her. So there's a lot going on. It's very meaty, very atmospheric, perfect summer read.
Amazing. Now for our grown-ups, we've got 4 books here. We've got a couple of them on Your Morning in the Past.
Yes, for sure. So the first one is I Hope This Finds You Well. This is for people who like an office comedy with a little bit of heart. It's about a woman who doesn't like her soulless, awful job, and she finds out that she has access to the emails and private messages of her colleagues, which gives her this sort of insight into what's going on. It's what I like to call a second chance story. So she's in kind of a bad place, but by the end of it, there's a lot of hope and optimism. The next one behind you, very different in tone. I know Catherine was on the show. This is a really unflinching look at violence and trauma, both in the home and outside the home. It's about a filmmaker who's working on a true crime documentary who's a little bit triggered because one of the people they're talking about is the Scarborough stalker, and she was a child at that time. So if you like true crime, if you're sort of looking at what is the legacy of trauma and violence, this is a really strong read. The next one, I think this author was also on your show, The Other Valley, is almost like a time travel story. It's about a world that's very insular, and the towns on either side are actually either 20 years in the past or 20 years in the future. And time travel is very regulated, and it's about a candidate for the government who has to decide, does she kind of uphold the rules of this very strict regime, or does she try to save the life of a loved one? So really deep questions, really beautiful prose, a nice deep story to sink into.
Fantastic. And finally, the last one.
The last one is The Last Tarot. You don't need to know anything about tarot to read this book. This is a historical novel, 2 timelines. In the present, an art historian from University of Toronto gets a mysterious tarot card in the mail, and it looks like it's the artist of the person that she's studying, but she's never heard of this deck before. And then the second timeline is the past, and in this storyline, we find out about the secrets behind the card, the artist who created it, and the kind of weird bohemian cult that started it all.
Fascinating. Such great books here. So many great picks. This is the one I'm really interested in.
This is really fun. This is a debut. I think this author has a really promising future. Also, fantastic cover.
Amazing. Vikki, thank you so much for coming in.
My pleasure, Winston. I'm thrilled.
Awesome.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.